what's up you guys, this is Rob from The Gay Guy Plays, and today on The Snapshot, it's all about having a nice tight grip when we wrap our heads around the different ways to build melee weapons. Okay, so this actually follows a conversation that I had with a friend a while back. After the release of the Alkalite mods, he asked me how he should be building his melee weapons. I then followed up with a couple quick questions about his playstyle and preferences, which he couldn't answer, and then promptly ended the conversation. However, this got me thinking about the different playstyles used with melee weapons, and that each of them uses a distinctly different build. There's one for the gunplay or power-heavy enthusiast, which only really relies on melee combat when they need to life strike some health back. There's one that pairs well with melee-driven ultimates, and with the release of the Alkalite mods, a build that is perfect for those who have dedicated themselves solely to melee combat. So, let's get this threesome on the road. Now the first build is for the dedicated ranged weapon user that only really plans on using melee to life strike some health back. For this, I'd recommend a standard build, starting with base damage, which may or may not include Syndicate and Corrupt mods, I'll leave that up to you, some attack speed, your elemental combo, and a fully ranked life strike so you can get a big chunk of HP restored in a single blow. I'd also suggest a heavy weapon with this one, since you really only want to have to swing it once, so you can get back to unloading your weapon ASAP. If your weapon's got about 15 to 20% crit, you can also try a crit build with it, but since you're primarily focused on shooting off or spamming your abilities, you may not be as interested in this version. Now there is one more build that I want to toss out there as a feasible setup for the dedicated ranged weapon or power user, which is my Glaive Prime build. This is a handy one for popping nully bubbles, as you can also channel it to get health back at range. This also has a pretty good synergy with your Kubro's Pack Leader mod, which restores health every time you do melee damage. If you're only looking to restore your puppy's health, you can just toss out a quick charge without even having to swap in weapons. The next build is focused completely on melee-based powers. These include Valkyrie's Hysteria, Wukong's Primal Fury, Excalibur's Exalted Blade, and to a lesser degree, Atlas's Landslide. This build is more about what does and doesn't affect the power itself. Take note that weapon-specific mods like the Single Dagger's Covert Lethality, or Syndicate mods like the Skana's Bright Purity have zero effect on any of these powers. The new Alkalite mods, Blood Rush and Body Count, also follow suit, having no effect. Now, a couple special notes. Due to the fact that Excalibur's Exalted Blade shoots out blade waves, you can omit the Primed Reach mod and slot in more damage. For Valkyrie, she's got innate life strike, so you can leave that out for more damage as well. As for Atlas's Landslide, it appears to have a very low crit chance, so if you're only modding your weapon for Landslide, you can toss the crit mods and Primed Reach to stack on even more upfront damage. Now, last but not least is the build for those who like to get up close and personal, completely raw and covered in bodily fluids. This melee-focused build incorporates Body Count and Blood Rush, the two new Alkalite mods. Now, these two synergize extremely well together, with Blood Rush granting you bonus crit chance based on your melee counter, and Body Count allowing you to hold on to your melee counter for a bonus 12 seconds. Combine that with Berserker to supercharge your attack speed with each attack that criticals, further increasing your hit counter, and you've got yourself a vicious synergy. Now, in my opinion, this combo works best with weapons that have at least 15% crit chance, giving you a 52% critical chance once you hit your 1.5 times combo counter. There's a very handy chart available on the wiki that goes into detail on all of this. I'll leave that link in the description box below. Now, there's one last thing to note. I personally always run Life Strike on all of my melee weapons, and have recently fallen in love with Primed Reach. However, if you can make do without one of these two mods, Organ Shatter is definitely an awesome addition. So that about wraps up how you should consider building your melee weapons for each individual playstyle. As always, this is how I personally like to do it, and it isn't written in stone, so take the information I've put out and tailor it towards the situations you tend to face, which is pretty much the rule for every build I post on my channel. Because I don't tell you how to jack off, who you should have sex with, what positions you should do each other in, and where you should unload. All that matters is that you're having a good time doing it. So thank you all for watching another episode of The Snapshot. If you haven't caught it, be sure to check out my previous episode where I rebuild Warframes with the new Drift mods, as well as Equinox's Peaceful Provocation build. Now, don't forget to do all the things that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay tuned to watch me get covered in more bodily fluids, here at A Gay Guy Plays. Ooh, no funny end shit this week because I am still deathly ill, to the point where I'm literally drinking Ensure nutrition shakes just to make sure that I don't die. But don't worry, soon enough I will be back to, as some Redditors would say, my annoying, insufferable self.